Hello, everybody. Intuition here. Thank you, as always, for making time and space for us. Today, we would like to discuss stress and how to mitigate and get rid of stress altogether. Because it is possible for you to go through life and have a stress-free life, though it seems daunting and unattainable. Before we dive into how to live that stress-free life, it is important to understand where stress originates from. And stress originates from the concept of the personality lens. And we say the personality lens because the personality is simply just a lens in which you see the world through and not the true lens of yourself. The personality is a construct made off of expectations, and we cannot bold, underline, highlight that enough. The personality is based off of the expectations that other people have placed upon you, whether that be school, society, social institutions, friends and family. All those expectations of how you need to be and who you are solidify and form the lens of the personality, which deviates from the original self, because the original self does not abide by the expectations of society. The original self simply is the original self. But the original self becomes a shadow aspect of self because it is quickly replaced by something that is a lot more conducive to living in the current day society in which we all find ourselves living in today. So the personality is really simply made out of expectations, and all of our feelings come from the expectations from the personality that have been instilled and hardwired into us by society, by our friends, by our family, by school, etc. So all of our feelings come from the personality lens. And again, the personality lens is made out of expectations. So stress is within the category of feelings, as is depression, as is anger. And again, if you are feeling those things and those things are coming up, it always will go back to an expectation that you have not met or somebody else failed to meet. That is all a feeling is, every single time. So, if I'm feeling depressed, it is the idea that I did not meet the expectation that I held for myself in the way that I thought I would. If I'm feeling angry, then somebody else did not meet the expectation that I was holding for them in the way that I thought somebody would. If I'm feeling stressed, then it is the idea that I am thinking that I'm not going to meet the expectation or all the expectations that I've placed in front of myself that have yet to meet, but I am stressing that I won't meet them. It is a anticipatory idea that you will not meet the standards and expectations that you have placed for yourself. That is what stress is and becomes. So, if we understand that all of these feelings, including stress, come from an expectation, then we can chisel away and eradicate the feeling altogether. Because the bigger question then becomes, if all of this is coming from an expectation, why am I having an expectation? If it is leading me down such a disastrous path in which I'm becoming depressed, or I'm becoming angry, or I'm becoming stressed, then why have an expectation at all? And that does not mean you go in blind to a situation, that you want nothing out of the situation and circumstance, but you don't expect it. Nor do you become rigid in the expectation and not allow a deviation from the original expectation that you placed in front of yourself. Because if I become rigid in something, then I become resistant. And if I become resistant, then I become insistent. And if I become insistent, and things don't go the way that I thought that they would, I'm going to get a feeling that is incongruent with me being able to actually accept and acknowledge the situation that's in front of me. So coming back to stress. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling stressed because I put a bunch of expectations on myself, and I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to meet them all. Or at least to the degree in which I feel that I should meet them. And so I'm feeling stressed about it. So how you chisel that down and eventually get rid of it altogether is, what are the expectations that I'm insisting happen with regards to the current situation and circumstances that are in front of me. When I'm clear on what those expectations are, I get to ask myself, that is the expectation. Why is that the expectation? Why must it be that way? Is there any way that it could also go this way instead of that way? Is there a way that I could not have an expectation at all? And when I ask myself those questions and I get down to the root of, eventually, it is okay that I don't have an expectation. That does not mean that I don't want something out of this, but it means that when I let go of the expectation, I'm allowing for whatever to happen. And if it happens, whether the way I expect it to or not, it is okay. Because at the end of the day, I will get my needs met. Because the only reason why I have an expectation is underneath the expectation is the idea that I'm not going to get my needs met out of the circumstance or situation that I'm confronted with. And why would you ever allow that to happen? Sure, you can't control outside circumstances, but you can get your needs met. And if you're depending on an outside external circumstance to get your needs met, then that is already disastrous. Because nothing outside of you can meet the needs that you have inside of you. That is your job, not a circumstance or situation. So then therefore, when I get down to the brass tacks, if we go down the ladder again, the personality creates a feeling. And the personality bases all of its feelings based off of expectations. The feeling, then therefore, what we're talking about is stress. So now I'm feeling stressed based off an expectation that I have placed on myself that has not happened yet. The circumstance or situation hasn't even happened. But I'm stressed about it. I'm projecting into the future about it. And when I break down what that expectation is, I realize that it's about a need that I'm afraid will not get met. And I get to ask myself again, what is the need that I wouldn't allow myself to get met? The only way that I wouldn't allow my needs to get met is if I didn't know what those needs were. And now that I broke down what the expectation is, I get to meet that need. So then therefore I do not need to feel stressed about an expectation. I don't need to have an expectation at all. Because my needs are going to get met whether the expectation comes to fruition or it falls apart. So this is how we deal with stress. We break it down. We break down all of these complex feelings and realize that they're based in nothing more than just an illusion to begin with. Based in a bunch of smoke and mirrors that looks like a big volcano erupted when really it is just a gas machine. So we address all of these by looking at it, taking a very good big look, not being afraid of what's underneath all of that smoke. Because usually it's not fire or a volcanic eruption that is underneath all that smoke. It is usually just an illusion, a mirage. No smoke at all. Just something giving off a big scary vibe and feel. However, it is very far from it. So no more stress. You don't need it, genuinely. And if you did, then in you feeling stressed, you wouldn't feel stressed. You would feel like you're getting your needs met. So unless you're feeling like in stressing out you're getting your needs met, which we assure you is not likely, then we don't need stress. We don't need sadness. We don't need depression. We don't need anger, because all of that is based on an expectation. And why are you expecting anything when you know you could get your needs met if you break down what it is that you believe should be coming out of the situation? So, simple food for thought. As always, we're full of gratitude for you making time and space for us, and we wish you well breaking down these crazy, ridiculous expectations that you're holding for yourself. And realize you don't need to expect anything anymore. You got this. Thank you. Well wishes.